Welcome back everybody for my second video about Solvang, where I'll be talking all about the downtown area in the first half, and then the Mission Saint Ines along with the Danish Days Festival in the second. And I have the link for my first video in my description in case you haven't seen it yet. So having said all that, downtown is about 5 blocks and you can get anywhere from one side to the other within 15 minutes. There's lots of complimentary street parking and public parking lots, but I recommend the one behind the visitor center because you are in the heart of everything and right next to the Solvang Park that's very popular for visitors and a very clean place to be. My suggested time for spending in downtown is roughly half a day from all the activities that include taking a trolley and renting a moke that I talk a little bit more about in my last video. As for some stores and small businesses you can check out, there's a Solvang shoe store that has those wooden shoes known as clogs in different colors, different sizes, and even a few slippers and plenty of other shoes. Then there's a Solvang spice merchant shop that has over 300 jars of different blends, curries, salts, and spices that come from both within the United States and many other countries around the world. Then there's Ingelborg's if you want some good Danish chocolate. I found some chocolate dinosaurs, instruments, motorcycles, golf clubs, hair sets, and then some other chocolate for display that you can order online, and there's also an ice cream parlor. The First Leather store has the majority of their leather imported from Italy and has all kinds of purses, wallets, jackets, belts, keychains, and a good amount of jewelry. There's a coffee roastery called the Good Seeds that's full of great reviews. You can really taste the richness in their espresso, and they display their food ranging from cinnamon rolls, monkey bars, cookies, scones, and even some vegan soft serve ice cream. There's also Café Dolce that has all kinds of flavored baklava, including pistachio, almond coconut, walnut, hazelnut, and even baklava gelato along with other different flavors of McConnell's ice cream. As for the museums, the first one I'll talk about is the Elverhøy that's free to get in and to learn a lot about the city's history, including pictures going back to 1911 when it was founded, a whole room of what the city looked like during the 1920s with building models, how it redeveloped as a Danish city in the 1940s, and some other rooms on what the lifestyle in Denmark was like back in the late 19th century. There's also lots of Viking exhibits, including a helmet, an axe, swords, and other weapons. Number 2 is the Hans Christian Andersen Museum, who was one of the most famous writers in Denmark and known as the father of fairy tale. It's also free to enter and takes up one big room. You'll find fairy tales he wrote, drawings of him on the walls, and read about different stages of his life. He wrote The Little Mermaid, where you'll find a big collection of books, movies, and you'll find the Little Mermaid statue at the end of the street, and a giant statue of Hans in Solvang Park. Number 3 is the Motorcycle Museum that has around 100 which were imported from many countries around the world, and it's $10 cash to get in. They all have the year they were made and a small description right next to them. You'll find many throughout the years, with the oldest one being from 1904. I'm not much of a motorcycle kind of guy, but I really thought it was cool checking out all the different styles. Number 4 is the Viking and Amber Museum that's $5 to get in and is 3 small rooms inside the Copenhagen House building. There's a small replica of a Viking ship called the Snorri that were built all the way back in 895 AD. You can learn a lot more about the Viking Age history, see a few golden horn exhibits, more swords, axes, and other weapons. You'll also learn how amber was used for jewelry and coins, and see pieces of them from around the world. There's even a small Jurassic Park exhibit where they mentioned the very first film on how they brought back dinosaurs from insects being inside the amber, and how it might be possible in real life with future technology. So the very first hotel I want to talk about that's very affordable is the King Frederick Inn that's located right in the heart of downtown. It's still under the same family since it was first built in 1960, and I found the staff very friendly and outgoing. They have a nice little lobby with a TV, a fireplace, and every morning there's free danishes from the Olsen's Bakery. Outside are some fire tables before you reach the pool area with a small jacuzzi in the corner. There's 47 rooms and I stayed in a single king with a balcony overlooking the pool. Then another night I stayed in their double bed. Both rooms were clean and both came with a microwave and a refrigerator. I also want to include that you'll get a small discount if you use my code in my description and apply it if you book directly on the hotel's website. On top of affordable rates, you also have a list of discounts to many of the wine tasting rooms, shops, and nearby restaurants. One of them is a barbecue restaurant called Whiskey and Rye. The trio sampler of ribs, brisket, and pulled pork was amazing and full of flavor. You should also try their barbecue beast burger made with bison, elk, boar, onion rings, and bacon. You can also get a discount at Eskos that has huge ice cream sandwiches, all kinds of cakes, pastries, and it's one of those places where you can get those Danish Abelskivers, but they're the only one I found that has dark chocolate covered pistachio flavor. Now continuing with 3 more affordable hotels, with the first being the Hamlet Motel, the second being the Royal Copenhagen Inn, and the third being the Wine Valley Inn and Cottages. The Hamlet Hotel is another small and clean property with friendly staff. There's unfortunately no pool, but I did like their little lawn and gazebo in the front. It's a self-check-in process and they text you a code to get in your room, but there's still a small lobby with somebody inside. This is the room I had, and I liked how they had the Denmark flags as blankets on the beds. What attracted me to stay at the Royal Copenhagen Inn was the architecture and different designs. There's another good-sized pool with some games right next to it. I stayed in their standard king room that had lots of space, a huge bathroom, the bed was comfortable, everything was clean, and you can also request free danishes for breakfast from one of the bakeries and complimentary breakfast when checking in. The Wine Valley Cottages Inn also stands out for its architecture and its clock tower in the very center, which the staff was kind enough to open for me and to let me have a look inside. This is what their lobby looks like with a fire pit, and there's another one just outside with a few more seats. It was something I like to do in the evening, and there's also a garden area with different colored bungalows, a pond full of goldfish, and one more fireplace to enjoy. My room had lots of space with a couple of chairs, a refrigerator full of drinks, and they even have bottles of wine for sale along with some other snacks. There's also a breakfast buffet in the mornings that includes more danishes from the Olsen's Bakery. As I said in my last video, that Solvang is very popular for their authentic Danish bakeries, and you can't go wrong with any of them. But the first one I want to talk about is the oldest bakery in town, known as the Berkholm's Bakery, and goes back to the year 1951. They have a huge selection of pastries ranging from macaroons, cream puffs, carrot cakes, giant cookies, palm leaves, butter rings, strudels, and they have very sugary bear claws that are one of their top sellers. Number 2 is the Solvang Bakery that has a nice bunny animatronic in the window. They're popular for their almond buttering, but I also want to show you their huge kringles, cinnamon rolls, gingerbread men, different kinds of brownies, and more flavored danishes. You can also buy some bagged up macaroons, cookies, and different kinds of bread. Bakery number 3 is the Olsen's, which is the second oldest bakery in town going back to the year 1970. Inside is another baker animatronic and they have their own cookie buckets that you can buy. There's a great selection of the same kind of pastries here, including lots of different chocolate treats, but what I can show you up close is their towering Napoleon pastry and their cherry boat. Number 4 is the Mortison's Bakery that's right in the center of downtown. They have lots of outdoor seating and their staff was very friendly. They have more custard puffs, eclairs, bear claws, and cinnamon rolls. I recommend any of the flavored cream cheese danishes along with their half chocolate covered pistachio square. Number 5 and lastly is the Danish Mill Bakery that has more animatronics through their window, and it's one of the few bakeries where you can get the Abelskivers that come with jam and sugar. They also have lots to choose from, including small pizzas, and I was told that their kringles are some of their best sellers. They also have the truffles known as Nipschild that were in the 2018 Guinness World Records for most expensive truffles. They have 2 other locations, with one next to a Christmas store opened all year. Then the other has homemade ice cream that's made every few days, which includes a good Danish cookie flavor, and there's also a few different ways to order the Abelskivers at this location. Lastly, on a quick side note, another good place to get Abelskivers is a Solvang restaurant that has a small takeout window that I found just as good. So my last 2 hotel recommendations are much bigger, with the Cork being on the eastern side of the city and the Vinland Hotel being on the western. Starting with the Vinland, it's another clean property with a nice little lobby that has a fireplace, some clothes and souvenirs, and it's also connected to their bar and restaurant. There's also a small pool area on the side with a jacuzzi, and there's a good viewpoint from their 3rd floor staircase. The room was very affordable, that had lots of space, a really comfortable bed, and you also get a coupon to the Olsen's Bakery, which is just about a block away. If you stay at the Cork Hotel, it's a bit more expensive than a lot of the other hotels, but you also get a lot more out of your stay, including a list of discounts to nearby wine tasting rooms and wineries in nearby cities. This is what their lobby looks like, that also includes a fireplace, a chandelier made with bottles and glasses, and even a wine dispensary machine. They also have a pool area with a small selection of cabanas, some fire tables, and a jacuzzi. Then the room I had was also very large, that had a balcony that overlooked it all. It also had a sofa, and the bed was also really comfortable. On site is the Cork Craft House with a good sized bar area on the inside and some fire lamps and fire tables on the outside. They had a little bit of everything on their menu, from pizza, burgers, pastas, steak, and they're very popular for their short rib grilled cheese that I enjoyed a lot. And for dessert, I recommend their flourless chocolate cake that came with a scoop of hazelnut ice cream. So one of my favorite restaurants is called the Peasants Feast, that's located right in the center of town and features both indoor and outdoor dining. For their lunch menu, the spicy chicken sandwich is one of their best sellers. I like their Kobe beef French dip sandwich, and then on their dinner menu, I suggest trying their linguine and clams that was cooked with some kind of spice that made it very unique. They have a deli across the street that has a variety of sandwiches on different kinds of bread. You can also have the Kobe beef here, but one of my favorites I always get are their smoked turkey with cheese and brown mustard. Number 2 is the Copenhagen Sausage Garden that has sausage samplers of up to 4 different kinds, their beer flights for up to 6 different kinds, and they even have beer floats made with vanilla bean ice cream. Number 3 is the Coast Range that's earned 2 Michelin stars. It's another popular place full of great reviews, and they have a stylish bar area. It's on the pricier side, but the food quality is surely worth it. If you come for breakfast, I suggest the biscuits and gravy with scrambled eggs and their brioche deep-fried donuts. If you come for dinner, I 100% suggest the 4 lamb chops that were very tender and were some of the best I've ever had. And you gotta have their vanilla bean cheesecake for dessert that's drizzled with blueberries and has some sort of cookie for a crust. Number 4 is Paula's Pancake House. That's very popular to have breakfast, and they have really good Danish pancakes that were too big to fit on the plate. I also want to recommend their whole wheat and honey pancakes that were topped with granola. Number 5 is Breweries, that also has Danish pancakes, but what I decided to order was their 3 cheese omelet, and it's another place if you like really big biscuits and gravy. They also have a coffee house around the corner that has lots of different flavored lattes, and I ordered the Mexi Mocha that's made mostly with chocolate and cinnamon. They also have a burger restaurant next to the Little Mermaid statue. I didn't eat here unfortunately, but I want to mention this to whoever might be interested. Now talking about the wine tasting rooms and other nightlife, the first one I want to talk about is the McLean Wine Cellar, located in the heart of everything, and I love the atmosphere with all the artwork inside. They have a pool table inside with sofas and live music on selected evenings. They have a nice outdoor lounge with fire tables facing the street. The staff was friendly and they have lots of options on their menu, including the wine flights with different chocolate truffles, and before or after you visit, there's also some other tasting rooms in the courtyard that you can also try. Number 2 is the Clean Slate Wine Bar that has a nice outdoor area, and the owner is a great man after talking to him so many times. There's a great selection on their menu of both beer and wine. They have a food menu that changes every day, but if their bee sting flatbread is available, I suggest that, which is made with jalapenos, Spanish chorizo, and drizzles of honey. Number 3 is the Good Life, that has a nice atmosphere inside with their fireplace, lit candles, and live music on selected nights. And number 4 is Cali Love, that's popular for their karaoke that stays open pretty late, and they have very fun bartenders where I watched one of them do a karaoke to the Phantom of the Opera wearing rainbow wings. Number 5 is the High Roller Tiki Lounge. That's a very fun place with their lights and decorations, and they also have live bands playing every Friday and Saturday night, and I even went to their New Year's Eve to watch a luau show. Number 6 is the Solvang Brewing Company, that has lots of fire pit tables with 2 big bar areas inside, and it's a place where you can find one of the Danish windmills. And lastly is the Landsby Hotel, that has a bar that lets you drink in their courtyard with fire pits and chairs. I didn't stay here unfortunately, but it's a nice hotel if this is another one you might consider. So the Mission San Ines is located on the eastern side of the city and goes back to the year 1804 and is nicknamed the Hidden Gem of the Missions. There's a walkway entrance right behind the Berkholm's Bakery that will take you around in a few minutes, or you can just park right at the Mission for free. Some free attractions in the parking lot are the remnants of the Mission Reservoir with the information board right next to it. Across the parking lot is the Station of Crosses that show you the different stages of Jesus' crucifixion, and you can get some good views of both the vineyards and the mountains. There's also the brand new Welcome Healing Garden that features a Jesus statue in the center and then a small shrine and fountain right next to it. Being on one of the corners of the Mission is a small rose garden with an original 19th century half arch right next to it. Inside is a small gift shop where you can buy tickets to tour the inside for just $8 that should last roughly 30 minutes. In the first room, you'll find a model of its original size when it was 3 times bigger in the 19th century, along with a timeline and some of the original bells. In the second room, you'll find a collection of the ranching and farming tools, and then in the third room is the vestment room that has some holy vessels. You'll then go into the antependium that has lots of canvases on the walls before going inside the main church that's average size, nicely decorated, and still holds daily masses at 8 in the morning. Outside is a courtyard with a large fountain in the center, some plants and flowers to see, and you'll learn how it was used for farming and agriculture in the early 1800s. Then on the side is a cemetery known as Camp Santo, where almost 500 of the early settlers are buried and over 2,000 Chumash Indians that helped build the mission. Now talking about the Danish Days Festival, it's a popular special event that goes on every September that shows off Danish culture and goes back to the year 1936. You'll see lots of people wearing the Danish clothes, doing all kinds of folk dancing, and a band playing on a horse-drawn trolley. There's a breakfast tent where you can get abelskivers and Danish sausages, a beer and wine garden with a Dave's hot dog trailer just outside for anyone that enjoys hot dogs and french fries, then a dance floor with live music. There was also an axe throwing area and a tent full of chainsaw carved wood. Solvang Park also had many tents and stands, including one about Viking culture that had swords, shields, and even a Viking boat in one of the corners. Then on the second day, there was a parade that lasted between 15 to 20 minutes that included a horse-drawn trolley, a marching band, a Viking float, and so much more. There were many other things going on that weekend that I unfortunately didn't see, but I have the link in my description if you want to know more. So this is the end for my videos about Solvang, and I hope I didn't make you all too hungry. I hope you enjoyed and thank you for watching. I have another city I have planned in the very near future, so stay tuned and safe travels.